I was on eBay the other day when I saw these two Game Boys. They both have issues that we haven't fixed here on the channel, and I thought to myself, what if we fixed two Game Boys in one video? Crazy, never been done before. Let's see what we learn. So this one allegedly has no power, but there's like virtually no corrosion on the terminals. Look at that. I mean, it'll be really boring if I get in there and it's just the battery terminals again. And then this Game Boy Pocket, this one has a different issue, so it'll power on, which is good for him, am I right? But it doesn't read game. Has no interest in doing that. We'll start with this guy, we'll start disassembling him. And you know what, there is something I actually want to try before we fully disassemble him. I want to see if I give him power, if he'll turn on, because that'll tell me if it's just the battery terminals. Oh, that's boring. Holy speaker, Batman. Guess it's another day of more vinegar. There's like some gunk in the battery compartment. Like somebody spilled their coffee in there. Oh wow, yeah. So I'm blind and we definitely have some corrosion going on. Didn't make its way to the cart reader and the rest of the board looks pretty dang good. Cool, so I know exactly what we're doing on this guy. Let's take a look at this other board and see if it needs any maintenance. There's definitely some crusty bits just lying around, so you could use a scrub. There's not any scratches on the lens, so maybe he gets to stay this time. What we're gonna do is we are going to start by scraping off as much of this as we can. Bring you guys in nice and close so you can see what we're working on here. Looks like I might have to replace them. What I'm looking for is if there's any rust. For those of you that don't know, the reason that corrosion stops these from powering on is because corrosion itself is actually not conductive. Yeah, there's a lot of rust here and the plating's just kind of wearing away. So we'll go ahead and replace him. And if we're replacing him, I'll replace his partner to match. Yep, that's gotta go. For the repair on the first Game Boy, all I had to do was replace these two battery contacts. So first I fluxed them up and dropped out the old ones, then installed the new ones, which I've done this a number of times on this channel, so this isn't anything new, but I did it a lot smoother this time, aside from right here where I decided to drop it, but I put it right back in and it came out beautiful as ever, so I would call that a win. Also, if you're enjoying the content and you haven't already, you should consider subscribing. I'm getting better at this, might even be good at it eventually. Now we'll quickly just give this board a little wipe down, because I don't know what this stuff is, but I don't want it there. Same thing on this side of the board. We will test that green Game Boy at the same time that we test this guy. Now let's start troubleshooting him. So he needs a pretty good bath. You can see there's some gunk in there. Aside from that, he actually looks pretty good. Oh, am I gonna be able to get you guys to focus in there? Oh, I can. Yeah, that ain't right. Let's disassemble, get down to that game cartridge, see if I can repair this one or if I'm gonna need a donor. So they actually made Game Boy Pockets for women's jeans, but they ended up being pretty popular with French war commanders as well. This looks like the kind of thing that would be really, really difficult to replace. This will be our donor if we need one. He's got corrosion on the game reader, but if I'm removing it anyways, it'll be really easy for me to get it in vinegar. He's also got corrosion everywhere else, for that matter. This pin here in the corner, I wanted to see if that one was recessed, because on this guy, it's recessed. So I wanted to be sure that my only issue is this pin right here. So we're gonna start by applying some pressure to this pin, seeing if I can get it to go in a bit further. That worked. It's actually sat flush with the other ones now, at least from that side. So I'm gonna come in with some tweezers, see if I can't pull them up a bit. That bend right there, yeah, so he's totally bent like that. So I need to get in the middle of that bend to pull up. Let's not yeet something off the board. Let's not yeet something off the board. Yeah. Okay, so we are going to have to replace him. Man, how do I want to do this? I don't have a solder sucker. I haven't done anything like this before. I probably should start by testing it on the donor board. No idea how this is going to go at all. I probably should just actively be ordering a replacement instead. This is not going very well at all. Let's get some fresh flux on here. That's a ton. I probably used way too much. Now I'm going to summarize 40 minutes of footage in 20 seconds. First I used my hot air gun. That didn't work. So then I used my wick. That wasn't working, so I got creative and poked it for a bit. Then went back to my wick. That wasn't working, so then I got creative and poked it for a bit. Then I went back to the hot air station. Then back to the wick. And you're never going to guess what happened after that? I then poked it for a little bit. And none of those things worked. All right, at some point I have to be realistic about the fact that this is not working out for me. So I think now's a good time to face that truth. I'm gonna leave this poor guy alone. I have already traumatized him enough. We're gonna stop trying whatever it is I've been trying and revisit this after lunch. Let's release him and see if the cartridge reader is like obviously destroyed or something. No, it's not. It is clipped into place though, so it wouldn't have been able to fall out with the hot air station. I never even realized that. Got ourselves a solder sucker. It absolutely terrified me because it started smoking when I turned it on, but apparently that's totally normal. So now we're gonna try to suck the solder. What's crazy, I ordered this thing at like noon. It got here at like 4 o'clock. It says it takes 3 to 5 minutes to warm up. So I'm just gonna be chilling, hanging around. Touching stuff I probably shouldn't. Upset with myself that I did that. Now that I'm using the right tool for the right job, it only took me 17 minutes to get all this done. So I just went through with the solder sucker, got as much as I could, would come through, test the pins to see how loose they were. Any that needed to be revisited, I would bring the solder sucker back, and was able to get all of them free just using the solder sucker and not doing any weird stuff with a wick or a hot air station or wasting my time some other way. All right, let's see if I can actually remove that now. Okay, so now in theory, please tell me that didn't break. Whew. That scared the crap out of me. That sounded like it broke. Okay. And look at that, like, we didn't destroy the plastic. Okay. Now I just need to get all the corrosion off this guy. And I think we're good to go. Riveting. We've let this guy soak for a while, so now I'm gonna finish cleaning him up. First, I just wanna make sure that I have all this corrosion picked off, so on the plastic, this will just swipe right away, no resistance. Then I need to pick in here. Oh yeah, that just comes right off now. Now it's time for a little bit of isopropyl alcohol. Oh, it's time for my cat to scream. Now we're ready to remove our broken cartridge reader. Okay, so I'm gonna try not adding flux because I found different opinions online. We're just gonna see how it goes. This time it only took 7 minutes because I kind of knew what I was doing. So I imagine if you do this enough and always use the right tools, you probably don't need to spend the 3 hours I spent repairing these two devices. This should probably just be like a 20-minute project for most people, but I'm kind of stupid, so here we are. This should come right off just like the other one did. Okay, well I broke his leg, so that'll teach him. I am so pleased right now. Fantastic. Okay, so if you need to do this yourself, go get a solder sucker. It'll be so much easier. Okay, so now I just need to solder that guy back in place. The good news is, I think this will actually just clip right in. So, which we might as well admire. Look at all those traces. And how did solder get there? Don't know if that's supposed to be the case. Curious, if I plug this back on, yeah, I'll still be able to get to that. All right, so now, let's get him put back on there. Fantastic. This should be pretty quick to solder. I mean, not actually. It'll take a very long time to solder. The fact that this clips into place is really good. What I am worried about is how do I not bridge pins? Or does that not matter? This actually only took like 5 minutes for me to do, so it really wasn't that bad. I pre-applied flux, and then I used a smaller tip just to make sure that I didn't make a massive mess, and would pre-apply the solder to my iron, and then just kind of tap that to the pins rather than trying to solder directly on the board. And I would say it worked out pretty well. While the board is still hot, I'm gonna clean it up. There's a couple I see that if it doesn't work, I know exactly where I'm gonna start. So now that that's been done, we'll clean them and get them ready for reassembly. We'll give this side a good scrub. We'll do the same over here. Wipe our speaker down real quick. I don't know why I'm filming this like I'm gonna show any of it. And he's got this dent, so we're gonna have to replace that too. So I've got a little bit of screen cancer around the edges. It's not in the viewing area, it's fine, but I just want to call out that it's already there. I did not cause it, so whatever happens next wasn't me. Future Matt, what you should do is have like both of them getting cleaned like side by side, and then add that like violent dubstep. But not exactly like the TikTok one, not the one that goes. I'm not gonna do that. We don't have anything in the audio library that's even remotely close to what he's talking about. And also, is that a crescendo? Now we're ready to go ahead and reassemble. Don't you worry about that. It's time to test them. All right, 2 repairs. Did they work? Dude! All right, let's test green guy first, make sure that all of our buttons work. Fantastic. Now let's test our pocket. I am so pleased, man. This was the most fun I've had on a repair so far. That was so much easier when I had the right tools. Definitely don't try to do that any other way than the right way, because doing it the wrong way was gonna take a century. But that was a ton of fun. I really enjoyed that. If you guys enjoyed the content, please leave a like. And if you'd like to see more just like it, please subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video.